Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name's Nicole. You can find me on Instagram at Nicole Makes Plans. You can find my website at NicoleMakesPlans.com. Today I wanted to do kind of like a different type of video, and I don't know how useful or good it will be, but I want to give it a try. So I read the bullet journal method at the end of 2021, and I'm really glad that I did. And I think more people should read it. I feel like people kind of just like learn the bullet journal method just by looking on Instagram or YouTube, but I think there is something to be learned from the book itself. I know when I started bullet journaling and have done so on and off since like 2016, I started like with their website, which gave like a really great quick breakdown of like all the important parts of the method. But this goes more in depth. This book is by writer Carol, and you can find bullet journal videos by him and his team on YouTube, on their website, bulletjournal.com. I think that's the website, hopefully. So I wanted to go through kind of like some main parts of the book that I liked and think are most important. I'll start with like the introduction. So that's kind of just going through what the bullet journal method is. So it's to track the past, order the present, and design the future, which is just really basic in general. And as I go through these, I'm just going to mark them off like I would kind of any other thing. The promise he kind of makes in the book, and that I have really found to be true, is like you accomplish more by working with less and identifying and focusing on what is meaningful by stripping away the meaningless. And there's a few ways you can kind of get to that. So it's kind of getting to your why. I'm gonna mark off the promise here. For the guide, it kind of goes into that in the book, but you can definitely use the book. You can use the website. You can look at other people and how they interpret the bullet journal method. And of course, like I am by no means perfect and I make it my own as well. This little booklet came up with my bullet journal by Lloydstrom 1917. It was in the back and I thought it was really nice. It kind of just goes through, it's literally like a short guide, kind of like what I started with on the website, really, of all the parts of the bullet journal and kind of how to do it. So definitely a lot of different ways to be guided for the bullet journal method. So the why is really, do you know what you're doing, or do you know why you're doing what you're doing? So like for me, I would say I like the bullet journal method because it keeps me organized. It's very simple. You can make it as simple or complex as you want. So it's very moldable to what you need. And I would say like I tend to be an anxious person. I'm not necessarily like clinically diagnosed or anything like that, but I know like I worry about things. I want to keep them organized. I don't want to forget anything. So that's probably my personal reason why I like the bullet journal method. So the next part after you figure out your why is kind of decluttering your mind. So writer recommends doing like a mental inventory. So it's like, what are you working on right now? What should you be working on? And what do you want to be working on? I didn't really do that this time around. I kind of feel like I'm already confident of like knowing what I need to do that, and that like I don't really need to write it down. But if you're struggling or if you're at the beginning of the bullet journal method, that might be useful for you to figure out kind of like what your needs and wants and desires are. As far as notebooks, there's a lot of different notebooks. You can literally use any notebook. And I think if you are remotely interested in the bullet journal method, you could just pick up whatever you have at home, start bullet journaling there, go to the Dollar Tree, Walmart, get something cheap just to try it out. These are kind of a group of things that I have used and tried out this year. So this is a pocket Moleskine. This is just a Mead notebook. It's 7x4, really simple. This is a large Moleskine notebook. This is a A5 Leuchtturm 1917 regular notebook. This is a Stalogy. This is Hobonichi Weeks, a regular and a mega size. Even though it does have stuff laid out in here, I still felt like I was bullet journaling essentially. This is a medium Moleskine, and this is a large Moleskine again, just like the green one I showed earlier. And this is what I'm reusing right now. This is the Leuchtturm 1917 bullet journal method, or bullet journal notebook journal. And I would say I think it's the version 2, but yeah, it's A5 hardcover. But yeah, you can use literally any kind of notebook for your bullet journal. So the first part that writer recommends doing if you're like starting at the very beginning is just rapid logging. So I will kind of show what that looks like in my journal. It's literally just daily tasks, what you plan to do for the day. As you get them done, you can cross them out. And just to kind of show what that looks like in maybe a more minimal sense or similar, but it can look the same. So just like going through the tasks, and we'll kind of like get to the bullets and signifiers soon. But regardless of any of these, like basically looks the same no matter what type of notebook you're using, just kind of like having the day and then putting out your tasks that you plan to do. I can even show it how I used it in the Hobonichi Weeks. So they have notes pages at the back, and I was just putting down my plans for the day. So that is what rapid logging looks like, and we'll kind of dissect what each part of the rapid log really means. So I put the day, and I know what day it is based on like the week and month that I have set up beforehand, so I don't necessarily need to write out July 28th or June 28th like this one, but you totally can. Bullets, so we'll go to the key that's included in this Leuchtturm 1917 bullet journal. So these are the basic bullet journal signifiers. So this is a bullet. It's just like a task. For me, it's a task that I've planned out. If I cross through it with an X, that would be a completed task that I planned out. If I put a greater than symbol, like an arrow pointing to the right, it's a task that's migrated. If it's an arrow pointing to the left, it's a task that's scheduled. So that means it goes from your daily log back to like a monthly or future log that we'll talk about later. This is a task that is irrelevant, so it's just crossed through. It's like it never happened. Just can ignore that one. If it's just a dash, it's a note. If it is an open circle and it's an event, sometimes people use triangles in the bullet journal community. I don't really use the signifier, and I can kind of show how I do that differently. And this is a priority, so it has an asterisk. And then for me, I added this other type of signifier. I like to demark a check mark when it's an unplanned task, but I completed it. Just makes me feel better that like I can show that I did something even if I didn't plan it out for the day. So for an example of like how I do events, for me, like if an event, it has like a certain time for that day. So that's kind of like the signifier for me of like showing that this is an event and then that's not a task. But I still exit out like a task when it's completed. So went through a lot of that there, but we talked about bullets, talked about tasks, talked about events, talked about notes, talked about signifiers, collections. So all of these are really types of collections. So the main ones are like daily log, monthly log, index, and I use a weekly log, and I think a lot of people in the bullet journal community do, so I included that here as well. And I'll show you examples of what that looks like. Collections can also be something like a wish list or a waiting on list if you are like tracking packages that you ordered or something like that. Or some collection ideas that he gives in the book would be like if you're planning a vacation and kind of like listing out all of the things that you need to do to get that plan going. So that could be a collection. So there's lots of different types. So the first type of collection is the daily log. So this is the rapid logging again, and this is for a certain day. So this is what that looks like. The idea would be that you kind of use as much space as you need and then start the following day right after you're done with the space. So you're not like reserving space or anything like that. You kind of just use what you need and go on planning. So while technically not included in the bullet journal method, a lot of people do use weekly log, and I probably would not be able to bullet journal if I didn't have a weekly log. So I would say it is very important for me and a lot of people in the community. This is what my weekly log looks like. Usually it's something like day-specific events on one side of the page, and then marking off which day it is. And then I put tasks on my weekly log that don't necessarily have a certain day that have to be done, but I want to make sure to do it at some point in the week. So that is what my weekly log looks like. It's kind of messy because I kind of messed up the layout, but I kept it in here. It shows that I'm human and is what it is. This is an example here of what my weekly log looks like for next week. Similar kind of setup, day-specific events. Here, I can use this space to like plan ahead when I haven't made my new daily log for whatever day next. I can put that task here. And then non-day specific to-dos on this side, and that's what another example of a weekly log. So I'll mark that off on my list of things to talk about. Another type of collection is the monthly log, and that is here. So that looks like, this is very much the bullet journal method of just doing the days of the month, the days of the week, and putting very high level events on this side. The monthly log is really not meant to be every single thing that's happening in the month. It's just maybe things that are out of the ordinary. And that's something I struggled with at the beginning of my bullet journal journey. I would want to put every single thing that I knew that was happening in the month in the monthly log, and it was getting really out of hand. But if I am just putting very like high level things that are very unusual for that particular day and I need to know to plan ahead for, so I think this works really well for me. I do put the week number here, and that's just kind of something I do. I do kind of like mark out week by week, so it's not as hectic to look at just like everything all at once. I can kind of figure out, okay, this is like 1 week, not as much stuff to like focus on for there. So just to show another example of what his monthly log looks like this. He puts it on the left side of the page instead of the right side of the page. He puts monthly to-dos here. A lot of my monthly to-dos end up going in my weekly log or daily log, so that's how I kind of get around that, but that's what that looks like. So again, monthly log is a type of collection. We talked about that. And then it's actually not here, but I'm going to talk about future log. So this is what my future log looks like, and this is what it looks like for writer Carol in this little kind of like how-to guide. He did it more like a horizontal layout. I did a vertical layout. There's definitely a lot of different ways to do it, but I would recommend sticking to just like this very high level events for each month and not necessarily writing out each day as like a little calendar in your future log. But if that works better for you, totally go for it. But I try to keep mine as simple as possible and not overwhelming and not taking too much time. So I just write each month out and then what events are happening for that month. Down here, I keep space for like tasks that are going to be in that certain month. And then I just tipped it in this sticker because October is a month with Halloween and I love Halloween. So I put that sticker in. And in this bullet journal notebook, they leave 4 pages available for the future log. I only planned out for the rest of this year, but I can use these other columns for like January, February, March if I need to, if I'm still in this bullet journal, depending on how long I stay in it. So future log is another type of collection. I'm going to add that as like 15.5. So we completed that as well, talked about that. And then the last like main type of collection is the index. I don't always refer back to my index. For me, I'm mostly just like planning in that day and not really referring back to logs for the most part, but this is what an index can look like. Just indexing different part of this bullet journal. So title page, key, intentions, index, future log, July, and then weeks. And there's 4 pages available for the index, so I can keep doing that. I kind of get around using an index by using tabs. So that's just something I do that's different, but you can totally stick to the bullet journal method and use the index if you'd like. So we talked about the index, and then the last main part of the bullet journal method, in my opinion, is migration. So that occurs when maybe you're setting up a new month and you're referring back to your future log to migrate things into the monthly log. That happens when, for me, again, weekly log is not part of the bullet journal method technically, but I do use that. So when I set up my week, I try to refer back to my monthly log to migrate things into the week. And then it happens for me when I am setting up my dailies. I use the week to migrate things into my daily log. Which sounds really repetitive, but I think it does help me keep memory of making sure I actually do the thing that I planned out for that specific day. And I think it helps with my anxiety because it's like, oh, where's this task? Where's this event living? I can like migrate it across and again, keep track of it. So that is migration. And this is probably the end of this video. If you have any questions about the bullet journal method, I would love to talk about it in the comments. Definitely recommend reading the book. So again, this is The Bullet Journal Method by Ryder Carroll. I think I bought it on Amazon, listened to the book on tape through my local library, so definitely recommend reading that. You can also visit his website, bulletjournal.com. It's right there. And then, again, if you do have any questions, I can try to answer it to the best of my knowledge or the best of my experience since I've been bullet journaling on and off since 2016. Subscribe to my channel if you like videos like this. I also do plan with me videos and flip through videos of planners that I've been using. Like this video, give it a thumbs up if you like this type of content or find this interesting, and hit the notification bell if you want to know the next time I post a video. It's not always on the same day. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.